Mother. So the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, quite the mouthful there, returns Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson, and Salma Hayek from the first movie and sees them, all three of them, going on an adventure together now, and we learn different things about their past and whatnot. So, to start right off the bat with the good, the chemistry between the cast is phenomenal. It's Salma Hayek, being part of the main cast now, part of the main group, adding to the dynamic of Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson was really fun. It adds a new element to the mix, and I think she was a good addition to them, because in the first one you just had Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson, which they have a great dynamic already. Add Salma Hayek into the mix, just makes it that much more fun, and really enjoyed that part of it. Also, the humor, of course, this movie is really fucking funny. It is probably funnier than the first one. It is non-stop laughs throughout the runtime, and when I was in the theater, there were so many laugh out loud moments that I heard, the entire theater basically burst out laughing. Could partially be due to, in part, that people haven't been to theaters in a while, and they really want to let it loose. But still, when a movie gets that many laughs, it's funny, and they did a good job writing the jokes in this one. Possibly even better than the first, but definitely at least up to the first standards. As far as the villain, Antonio Banderas is wonderfully over the top. He is totally ridiculous, and I absolutely loved it. These are the types of roles I love from him. Banderas can be hit or miss for me, but when he does an over-the-top, unknowingly self-aware, over-the-top role like this, I really enjoyed it, and I think it fit for what this movie was trying to do, so I enjoyed his villain a lot. Unfortunately, that's kind of where the positives end. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit, but there's quite a few issues I have with it as well. First thing is, it's pretty convoluted. I really preferred the simplistic plotline of the first movie. This one gets pretty muddled and convoluted, and there's a little too much going on at certain points, and it doesn't really feel necessary for a movie like this, a ridiculous, fun, entertaining movie. I think they went a little too far with the plot. They tried to do a little too much, and they should have kept it more simplistic like the first one, and that it gets genuinely confusing at times. So it's weird that they chose to do that for this movie. So that's one of the issues there. Some of the characters have some new introduced backstory that feels a little ham-fisted, it's a little shoehorned in, doesn't quite seem to make that much sense. Also, there are moments in this movie that stretch believability way too far, even compared to the first. The first one was a fun, enjoyable, ridiculous action comedy starring Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson. You know what you're going to get. But this one, I think, takes it a step too far in moments. I won't give it away if you haven't seen it, but there are several times while I was watching this movie where I'm like, really? You have to suspend your belief too much for this, based on what they established in the first one. It was a little too much for me, and some of the action that some of these older guys were doing, it was weirdly cut to make it look like it was actually happening, even though you could tell that it was obviously not really happening. So, and that brings me to my other point, which is the action in general in this one was not that great. The action in the first one was fine, but the action in this one was not the best, and it was, like I said, a lot of weird cuts, and it wasn't just shot very well. There are some cool action scenes, but most of them were really choppy. The directing, the editing, not great in that regard, and some of these action scenes, they should have just not even attempted, because there's no way to do it in a way that makes sense. If you've seen the movie, or if you end up seeing it, you'll know what I mean. So that's it, guys. This is going to be a quick review. I don't have a ton to say about this movie. I pretty much knew what to expect, although it probably fell a little bit below expectations. I didn't quite enjoy it as much as the first one. I enjoyed it just enough, but there's a lot of weird, convoluted elements in here, and what they did with the characters' backstories and the filming of the action scenes made it so I think you could probably skip on this one in the theater, unless it's like a $5 Tuesday, maybe wait for it to come out on streaming or something. So I'm going to give The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard a 6 out of 10. So there you have it, guys. It was a little disappointing for me, even though I will still slightly recommend it. It was just enjoyable enough, but disappointing compared to the first, and there are a lot of things in there that kind of frustrated me. But have you guys seen The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard? If so, what do you think? Drop a comment below. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell. Likes are huge for YouTube channels, so please, if you enjoyed this review, if you enjoy my content in general, like my video, subscribe, notification bell. And I will be, like I said, I'm going to try to be more active. I'm just trying to think of ideas to do. There's not a ton of movies coming out these days, but whatever I do post, I will see you soon.